ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to part 3 of GtkDrawingArea tutorials. So, last few videos we've basically just been doing a lot of setup. It's kind of, I know, it's a little awkward, it's a little silly, but we kind of just needed all of that out of the way to be able to actually do drawing, okay? And so really at this point we're pretty much good to go to start drawing. And so what are we going to do? Well, remember that we went through and set up an event of a flag of is drawing, okay? And we also have this method that's getting called OnMotion, right? So what we really want to do here then is, like, basically when we are mouse down and are moving, well, more like just moving when we are drawing, right? So basically, if is drawing, we're going to go through and then say, well, we want to draw one of the types of things that we've specified as a flag, okay? So basically, we're kind of, this is where the quote-unquote state machine aspect of this is coming through, because what we're doing is we're just saying basically, you know, if we're drawing, then we can just say, well, if line, right, in, not on, but in self.draw type, right, then we'll do something. Okay, now we've already drawn squares, so I'm going to go ahead and actually do squares first, because we've effectively done that when we went and filled the background as white, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and fill the rest of these out. So C-I-R-C-L-E, and then erase, and that should be capital E. And in addition to all this, like, before we kind of do this, what I want to do is we're going to set up the brush, by the way. We're going to actually have a reference to the brush. So we're going to say self.surface, and we're going to just say self.brush. You know, is equal to, and then we'll say context and then self.surface. So we're just going to take that as well. And this is just going to be such that we can then not have to specify it each and every time, but by the here. Basically, whenever it changes, we have the proper context for it. So then what we can say, okay, self.brush, and so we can then put that into, we can use that within our methods. So we have OnMotion. We've already kind of got these already created. What I'm going to do is now kind of create at least a method here for def method draw square, and then we're just gonna, I think we'll just say is like so. And then what we're gonna say is we're gonna literally just kind of take this information that we have up top for when we drew the background and pretty much just use it for our draw square as well. Okay, now where did he go? There it is. Sorry. Okay, so now we have effectively the brush. We need to put self here instead. All right, so we just say self.rectangle. I'm trying to make sure I copy that over. Jeez Louise. And like so. I'm just going to set the source RGBA like so. Now the source RGBA is actually going to be set obviously to the color value of our brush. So we'll just say self.brush color value. I'm not going to reference it as self.brush color, or well, yeah. We'll just do it that way. Yeah, we're just going to specify it here. We're going to just say RGBA equals self.brush color value, and then we're just going to give it the RGBA parentheses 0 0 1, you know, 2, and then 3. Now I should actually go ahead and mention something very quickly here. To open up, well, we do need that come back. Okay, so with the main.glade here, I want to go ahead and quickly mention that we should have gone through and set the default color value. I don't know if it's going to go through and open, or if just, oh, it did open. It opened up another window. Oops, okay. So for the color here, what we need to do is click on that and then just say current RGBA color, and then just specify that to be black, as well as say use alpha and checkmark that. Okay, so this will then go through and allow you to just kind of use the alpha channel of that and all that information. So I didn't set that up initially, I forgot about it, but when I was troubleshooting one of my run-throughs for this tutorial, I forgot that I need to set that as well. So it's just good to know that you should set that here as well. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just Control S and close that out, and we're good to go. So we have self.brush color value, and then we say, you know, set source RGBA slots, right? And then what we're doing is just saying brush.rectangle AW and AH here, but we're not doing AW and AH. What we really need to do is we need to get the X, Y1, and I'm just going to say XY2, and we're just going to do like so, and then we're just going to say self.AB coordinates, okay? And really, honestly, it may be smarter to actually just set the, yeah, we'll do that then here, I guess. So we're going to say, well, first off, we do need to actually have that update as well, by the way. So I'm just going to copy this over, and like so. Now, honestly, what we really probably should do is actually just get the information from here before we enter any one of the draw states. So that's actually, I think, what I'm going to do instead of doing what I was going to do here for X1 and Y1, though we can take that as a reference effectively, because what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do anyway, you can do it whatever way you want, but I'm going to just say point 1 and point 2. So P1 and P2, and then we're going to just say self AB chords, Control C, Control V, and then 0. And then what we need to do, by the way, for useful information, we can actually just do something like X1 is equal to P1 0. And then same thing, basically X2, or Y1. I'm sorry, not X2, but Y1. If I could get rid of that properly. Equals, and you just do P1, 1. So that makes that 1. And so we're just kind of getting that XY coordinates for that, and Y2 coordinates as well. So we're just going to go through and quickly do that. 2, 2, and then say P2, P2. And then you can do something like W width is equal to X2 minus X1, right? And then height is equal to, you can do then Y2 minus Y1. Okay. And so basically we can just use that information for pretty much, well, the squares. We could probably do it for lines if we needed to, you know, just any number of things here. But we're going to pass to the square here. We're going to say the, let's see here. Excuse me. We're going to do the, basically the array of that. So we're going to do square here. We're going to do self.draw square. Draw square. And then we're going to just say, basically, let's see here, the coordinates here is, I'm going to say chords, yeah. And then we'll just say chords, well, I don't know. Is it better? Does it really matter? I don't know. Because what we're doing is basically the X1 and Y1 and then the, you know, the width and height. So X1, comma, Y1, comma, width and height. Okay. And so then we just do just that, chords. I'll just do it that way. I'm just gonna call it that. I think it's a little less confusing. That should be a 0. Sorry. And that should be a 1. And then that should be 2 for the width. And then 3 for the height. Okay. So we set the source, RGBA, we set the brush fill, and we're good to go. Okay? So what happens is when we click, when we... Actually, I guess we should get that relatively close together because they're kind of tied together. These are a little bit separate. I mean, this is where you start getting classes because, it makes it a little cleaner, but whatever. Okay, so basically, when we click, we say, is drawing true? We enter here and say, we'll just get some general information, right? We update the AB coordinates for that slot 2. Then we say, P1, point 1, point 2, and then we do some calculations with the X1, Y1, Y2s, and all that. And then we just calculate width and height. And then we pass that to the draw square method, okay? Then we, of course, have just the general stuff that we already did pretty much when we drew the white background, but set to here, okay? So let's go ahead and run this. By the way, I know that this isn't going to work already. For those of you who are preemptively like, oh, it's not going to work, I know. I know. Boy, do I know. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on square because obviously I want to go through and draw a square. And, oh no, what's going on? Why am I not drawing, right? I mean, let's see if I maybe got something wrong with my values. So I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to say, print parentheses P1, right? So I'm just going to do just that and just double check, see, okay, well, what's going on? And obviously I need to double check and make sure I'm doing square. And wow, what? Why am I not hitting it? What's going on? Am I not, what's going on? Did I mistype the method? I'm not in my method apparently. I'm just gonna go through, double click on that. I'm gonna copy, make sure that my method name is there. Why can I not draw this? And so, okay, I'm gonna click on my draw area and I'm gonna go through and do signals. Scroll down to OnMotion or Motion Notify Event here. I mean, I do have something there on Motion, it looks like. I'm just going to, double click that, press enter, make sure it's all set. Control S to save. Well, let's see if that's fixed. Hint, it's not. Okay. So I click on square. I'm dragging and drawing, still nothing going on. What's going on? Okay. God. So apparently it's not good enough to just set the events to the draw area. So apparently you actually have to go through and expose those events to the draw area, or at least add the events to the draw area. What does that mean? Well, basically what it means is, and I'm going to literally just copy and paste because I'm not going to type it all out. Well, basically what this means is you'll get your reference to the draw area and you do this. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry, I'm just a little annoyed. You have to go through, even though you've added the event for button press, button whatever, and all that. Even though you've done all that, right? You actually still have to add the event to the draw area. And so you say, GTK event mask, button press mask, button release mask, and button 1 motion mask. Okay? And that will go through and expose those events so that you can draw and do what you need to do. I must admit, oh my gosh, it was extremely thoroughly annoying trying to figure out why it was not working. Only to figure out that, oh, well, okay. I'm just saying. So you have to expose the events. Even though you've set the events in the Glade file, you still have to expose those events. So, basically pause the video, type that out, and you're good to go now. So in theory, if I've actually done my proper calculations and all that, and I do square, I can set the square, and we're going to draw GDB is not defined. GDB is not defined. Did I miss something? GDK. What? What are you talking about? If event type, oh, okay. For button 1. Oops, okay. That was during my old tutorials. Yeah, see, there you go. It's all coming back to haunt me. This is so finicky to try to get set up. It is not even funny. GTK. I don't even... GDK. I'm sorry. GDK. Oh my god. GDK. Boom. Okay. And now, if we go through and run this, I'm going to click on square. And oh yeah, because I didn't set up the EVE for that coordinate space properly. It's not EVE on motion, it's going to be EVE. Actually, I'll need to double check that on my notes here. Is it EVE and then brush, or is it brush and then EVE? I don't know. I don't know. On motion is going to be widget and EVE. Okay. So I'm just going to do EVE there. Sorry. Okay. See. And now, in theory, let's try this again. Okay, I'm printing out the values. Cool, cool. Okay. So we are getting the coordinate space information. That's great. Okay. If square, we do self.draw square. The next one, Y1. Okay. Oh, and then, so then you need to go through and do self dot draw area. Oh my god. Dot Q something. Q draw. Yeah. Q U E underscore draw parentheses. Yeah. Q U E draw parentheses. Okay. Now let's see if that works properly. Aha! Huzzah! 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 It is really, truly small gifts in the world. And I can do different colors. If I didn't, cluster bomb something, I could do yellow triangles, right? I could do green triangles. I mean, not triangles. Oh my god, I can't even. I don't even know my shapes. My parents would be so disappointed. I can do squares. You get my point. All right, that is the drawing of a square. Okay. Now we can go through and draw a line. And in all seriousness, I'm gonna probably just kind of double check on mine here. So we're going to use the source RGBA stuff. I could probably copy a chunk of this here. So we're going to do just that. I'm going to do line, draw line. And that needs to be a capital L because my shift is not working properly. I'm going to copy and put that into there. And we're going to say self.draw line, parentheses. Okay, so then what we're going to do is basically we do draw line. We set the source RGBA to whatever the line is. I don't even know why I put that there. That's not correct for the comment. That's very wrong. I put that wrong comment. Okay, get rid of that. Anyway, okay, so what we can do now to draw a line is we actually have to have basically a collection of points. Okay, so what we really kind of need to do then is we kind of need like a, let's see, we're going to basically copy the AB point system, but we're not going to do it like so. We're going to do it like line line PTS. Actually, it looks like we could just do line points. Sweet. I would rather be able to spell it out clearer than to just be confused as all heck. And then we're just going to have that as an empty. And we're going to then do line points as well. On the click there, we're going to do add it, of course, to the click. So when we do, let's see here, on button press, we'll do AB coordinates, but we'll also do the same thing here. We're just going to line points dot append, and then parentheses, and then we're just going to take this EVY. And then we're going to do it like so. And then on top of that, we need to update it in the method here for when we do the line. So we just line points append, and we then do ev.x and y. Okay? Now, when we draw the line, what we got to do is basically, I'm going to literally reference my stuff because I don't honestly remember all of it. I don't remember all of it. I know we have to set the source. We have to set the brush line width or whatever. So that's going to be self.brush self.brush dot set underscore line. We could do line width here, I guess. Yeah. And then we can just do self dot we could just do self dot brush size. Okay. So we'll do line width here. We're just kind of basically setting that line width. We probably really should just go through and set that to an event. Actually, we are, but yeah, we need to make sure that it's set up to the proper line width anyway. So we're just going to set it here. And then we need to do, well, so there's something called line cap. Okay. So we're going to say cap, and I'm going to set this to be, well, you know what? It doesn't matter. We're just going to set it to 0. So line cap basically means the type of brush head that it is, effectively, but it's not exactly correct. It's more like when you set it, you've got basically something called butt, comma. You can do round, and then you can do 2, and then you can do square. So basically this will set the type of brush tip in a sense, if you want to make it like that. That's kind of a good way, I guess, of describing it. So this is going to go through and set the brush tip. And then from there, we're going to go through and we have to loop through those coordinates. Okay. So we'll just do, say, 4. Okay. And then we're going to just do I in, and then we're going to just do self dot line. Oh my God. Self dot line points. Yeah, line points. Yep. And then we're going to do for J, and we literally just do the same thing here, line points. Okay. And then what we're going to do is just say brush. Okay. And then this also needs to be self.brush. Sorry. Self.brush, and then we're going to say move to, and then do, because the move to is going to be the start of where we're kind of getting the line. But then the, yeah, we're just going to, I'll just do it that way. Underscore TO. And then we're going to do parentheses here, and we're going to move to. So we're going to do I0 here, comma, I1. Oh. Where's my I1? Then what you do is line 2, okay? So line 2, and then J 0, and then J1. Okay? And then we still need to do self.brush.stroke. And stroke basically draws it, but you know, it doesn't fill it. We're not filling it, we're stroking it. We're doing an actual path kind of traversal thing. So that's kind of important for, I guess, again, I'm like, I have a very foggy understanding of this, and it was a real struggle to make this all work. So I'm doing the best I can, y'all. So you can just do del, and then you can do this. So this is important. Now, what we're doing here is move to and line 2, and this means that we can actually use this process to draw a line, straight line. Okay, so we could technically take a chunk of this logic and say draw straight line instead of just strictly line. But what we're doing here is we're getting the coordinates and we're pinning into the coordinate system for the line coordinate, and then what we're doing is we need to basically delete the coordinates up to the last one, if that makes sense. So we kind of go through here, and I'm just going to go through and show you what I do. Is we say we do the length. So we're going to get the length. we need it. So we're doing basically like a split of this list. We're splitting the list, and then we're deleting a chunk of the list that we don't need, right? So we're saying length, line points -2, okay? Because we want to have the second to, we want the last 2 points of this list, and then just -1 here means basically get the length of this, and then just do whatever. So then, yeah. So basically, all we're doing is keeping the 2 points. Right? Keeping 2 points, or keeping a point. Let's see, we're taking the length of it. So if we had 6, we take 6 from here, and then we backtrack to 2, and then yeah, we just drop from that position. Yeah. Keeping the 2 points. And then we're going to append it, and then we're going to go through and run it. So now, if we do draw a line, in theory, if I've done everything correctly, I can go and now just start drawing a line. And no, I can't, because something is wrong. Takes exactly 2 arguments, only 1 given. Oh, because I don't need this. I need to stop forgetting that is a thing. But anyway, so now we can just, oh, okay. RGBA is not defined. That's because we didn't take it from here. I mean, we're just basically doing this, so that's true. Yeah. It is what it is. Okay. Okay. And in theory, no, God bless America. Cap. We don't have an attribute for cap. I gotta look at my notes. Oh, set line cap. Oops. Underscore cap. I was like, okay. Set line cap, set line length. Yeah. Now, yeah, booyah. Oh, yeah, but that's still wrong. Ooh, okay. Oh, yes, I know why. Because we need to go through and delete the line points. So we need to just go through and del line points here. On button release, we're just going to do line points del. But we're going to just... I'm going to double check that. Yeah, we're just going to do del line coordinates like so. So, but we need to get rid of the length check here. We're basically deleting like so. We're splicing it, and boom. So now, when we do it, and we release it and all that, we're not keeping that information. Yeah, there you go. And we can obviously, again, change the color. So we can do purple instead. Purple, that's cool, that's gray, that's nice. Woohoo, okay, cool. Oh, and we can obviously set the color to, we can set the brush head to a bigger size. So I'm going to just spam this to be like 46. And boom. And we got all of that. Awesome. The cool thing about this now is we can effectively take this, where was it? Draw lines. We can take this draw line, and we can effectively do the same thing, but for deletion. So I can pretty much copy this. And honestly, what we could do is like separate this into its own separate method, and then just call this like sublogic, and then just do an if check against the color space. But And what we can just do is say this instead. We can just say 1, 1, 1, 1, and get rid of that, and you're good to go. And the reason why we could do this then is that, oh, by the way, eraser. Draw eraser. And then what we can do is go to erase here. Self.draw eraser. Now the cap type probably should be just square instead of a circle. But you could set it to square if you wanted to by just basically switching it. Right? So if we go ahead and then just say, let's draw a big square. I gotta make sure we can then do erase, and it's not working. We do white. I'm gonna double check my notes. we set our source RGBA. I'm gonna make sure that it doesn't need to have the dot or the double. I don't know if it matters, but and then let's see here, double check this. Line width is going to be self line width. Line cap is going to be whatever the cap is. And we just do the line strokes. Oh, because what we really kind of just need to do is line points is like so. But for here too. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of, yeah. So let's do square. Make sure that it disappears. Erase though, voila, we can now erase it. And what we're doing really is just painting over it as white. Again, this would be in the instance of the eraser, what you need to do is like check the state of whether or not you're going to be using RGB, like a PNG type image. And if basically if PNG, set the brush source to be like alpha is actually effectively 0. And then when you draw that, it'll draw an alpha of 0. And so when you set that, it will literally draw the background as whatever it is as empty. So as an example, literally I could just do 0 here. I'm just going to show it as an example anyway. Forget it. So I can literally now make a big square here. I'm going to make a big one here. Erase. And it's not doing what I wanted it to do. Yeah, there's a way to go through and make it draw basically like as transparent or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, it's fine. It's okay. I think there was a way about doing it. Anyway, in this instance, because we're doing white, we can just use the value of 1 and it will just overwrite it. Okay, so we now have lines. We now have squares. We can do circles. And probably go through and do like a saving of the image, because obviously if we have our beautiful masterpiece, we want to be able to go through and save it. But that's going to be for another tutorial, because this one's getting long and my voice is getting raspy. So thank you for watching. Please rate, subscribe, tell me what you think, and I will talk to you all later.